It was Wendell Holmes Jr., a former Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, that once said, "A mind that is stretched by a new idea can never return to its original dimension." I think it was Bob Proctor that says the monies that you will ever earn in your life, it is in direct ratio for that which you do. Your ability to do it well and the difficulty in replacing you. Theations, today is Sunday, the 2nd of November, 2025. It is 5:58 in the morning. This is your humble servant, Chief Abundance. I want to appreciate once again our Chief of Staff, Dr. Dahlia Samuel, our mathematics professor, also the interviewee, which is our global director of operations and our global youth ambassador, Mr. Otiam Ondu. Thank you very much for your insight and foresight and your depth of knowledge. I know it was not easy for you in many instances, becoming the person that you have today. It was not easy. I saw you grew from fearful of responsibilities to now daring responsibilities. So I've watched you grow, and is one thing I proud myself of, the ability to see within people what they do not see within themselves. I've been doing that from since, I know myself, and especially when given supervisory or managerial executive role, I bring out normally the best in people because I realize that we are a product of our environment. And I have seen persons that are working within the same environs, and that environs created diametrical attitude and behavior. The same atmosphere, but for some, the worst comes out. For others, the best comes out. Then you wonder how we as human beings are made, how we are wired. And so this morning, as stock continues to go uphill, is one thing I will highlight in this audio. And of course, thanks to our Global Youth Ambassador for allowing me to shape his mental capacity, to shape his pursuant of fighting for equality and justice. And that is who I am. And that is why I don't try to remember things, because at the end of the day, when you're truthful, you don't need to try to remember. what you would have said in the past. And we must always know that some persons, you're disappointed in them because of their position in communities, or so their society, their education level, what they would have achieved. And so you kind of look to people based on your own level of understanding for direction. We call them role models. We normally look to nurses, teachers, our medical practitioners. We look to our engineers, we look to our PhDs, we look to business people, we look to professors and especially in religion, our pastors and our clergymen, there and ever so often when you're asked to prepare important documents, they will refer you to these people, especially your pastor, your bishop, your principals, those people that have taught you, you go back to them for references. And so sometimes we look to them for guidance. But most of the times, because of how they were being indoctrinated, they are dead. They are dead to the things that are happening around them and through them, that most of them become failures in our society. And I will go to that one. Pure failures. They have not achieved anything of any significance. No one know their name. They do not shine beyond their local communities. They do not shine beyond their local churches. They do not shine beyond their scope of the environment. And you wonder how brilliant persons, even within our communities, the educated have good jobs. But when you look at the history, they were not even able to put a shack, even one bedroom shack for themselves. But they were educated, well established in government, in the community. But when you look at their track record, their influence, their achievement, they have failed miserably. And so, who are we as a people, especially we people of color? When I listen to our global director, and everybody should listen to that interview of yesterday, and also they should go back and also listen to the COS interview with Director Carr. Very insightful. And you listen to Otiam, he says, one of his greatest challenges is happen to be sandwich between those who he revered to be wise, those who have influence, those who he thought should know better, against abundance and his intention of evil for them and for the community. And it's not, as he said, that these people are bad, but they are not awakened. And that is where I will end, this audio. I can say to the community that when you are not awakened consciously, you are a failure. You can never achieve that which you were born to do. When you look at our communities, and I want us to, let us reason. There are times when I said, let us just reason. You look around your communities, your country. Some of you have 100,000 citizens in your community, in your country, 200, 500, a million, 15 million, 20 million people that lives in your community. How many of them do you know? I am in Antigua and Barbuda. Presently, I'm in West Africa. Then I ask myself, how many persons do I know in Ghana? I'm not talking beside Tiashans, knowing them, meeting them. How many people do I know that stands out? You have Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. You have Rawlings. Who else do you know really in Ghana? Probably Mr. Former UN ambassador for the United Nations, Kofi. I am just trying to emphasize that our educational system and the system that we are allowed to believe is one that produces absolute failures. Absolute failures. And we target those who do not think like us. We target those that have a different mindset than us. We kill those whose intention is pure. Look at what happened to Kwame Nkrumah, Rawlings. No, look at your freedom fighters globally, the Mandelas, the Thomas Sankara. I mean, look at what is happening in Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. The West want nothing to do with them, and we follow their footstep because how we were trained. And so I want to bring it to your local communities so that you can understand that you have been fooled. You have been made to make a mockery, and we are being used to be our biggest enemy of progress. And once we remain the way we do and the way we think, the elites have no issues with us, especially people of color. And that is why when Crypto Chemist says, it is a pity, it is an awful pity that we are still asleep. We are still asleep to our potential as a people that can do exploits in this community. We are given an opportunity to create money. We are given an opportunity to create more money than we could ever spend. But what do? We go to the bottom as we normally do. We have no vision. Our expectation is very short and narrow, and we find energy in degrading. We find energy in talking down. We find energy in negativity because there's no short of negativity that is naturally within us. We don't need to exercise any energy to be negative. It is our default menu. And that is why our communities are where they are. We are all failures in our community. And some of you might say, oh no, I am not a failure. I've lived in my 3-bedroom house. I have a Lexus driving. Oh, I have a pool in my yard. I'm the only black person living in this community. And then you compare yourself to who? Who are you comparing yourself that you think that you have achieved? I am saying to you that we have failed, and failed miserably because of our mindset. And so I took note at a very early age. And may I say to you, people like abundance are few and far between. We will always be the target of the natural mind. We will always be the target of the majority. We will always be the envy of the majority because we are unstoppable. We are unstoppable. And people like myself create anger and frustration in you because you do not understand us. And that is why when the script says spiritual things are spiritually discerned and they are ignorance to the natural mind. And so in your ignorance, you go down to the bottom and you become so negative that you can even light up a continent. And you cannot help yourselves because that is what you know. You cannot know what you do not know. And most people do not seek to know what they do not know because it will bring them out of their comfort zone. And people like to be accepted in a general terms. We don't like to be alone. There are few of us that are not comfortable in crowds. There are few of us that walk the opposite when the majority is going in one direction. There are few of us that are laughed at globally because our position. We are misread, misinterpreted, misunderstood, misrepresented. And the people who speak about us, they think they have authority over our name and what they think that we will do. And that is why every step of the way, when they failed, they resort to something more sinister and darker than before, because they will never accomplish, or what they said will never come to pass. It will listen, there are so many bright lights who came in this community. They left us. They call abundance all sort of names, but they realize that nothing have stuck on abundance. They all wash off like water. They have nothing else to say. I remember one person called Hodiah when we were in TBC. Hodiah was one of those persons, and Ambassador will also have his own experience with Hodiah. And I have to call her as an example. I remember that she was one of those that when I came out against TBC and the fraud was happening there, she was one of them that came out and, were campaigning against abundance. And, even when I started TAC, these are the forces that was guiding TBC. There were TBC police, inspector general. I did not know what I was doing. Oh, they spread negativity and abundance. They were out to destroy my person and whatever I represent. Today, Hodiah, eyes are open. She is now awakened. And once you're awakened, you cannot be fooled. And so the things that I was speaking out against in TBC, it took them 2-3 years to reach to my level. And that is what will happen in TAC. Tiashans, you are not at my level. You are not at my level of vision, pursuance, achievement. You are not there. And that is why most of you behave like that. Because where I am leading you, you have no capacity to follow. You have no capacity to follow. And I am not fearful of saying it, There are few persons within this community truly understand where we're going. And for them, they see the community as pitiful and very sorrowful. People that are endowed in billions and they're still looking for sense. They're still looking for sense because they do not understand. And so when you look at our society and the way how we were taught to operate, to believe, to accept, our institutions have done all of us pure injustice. When I went into government at the age of 18, I was a health inspector. 6 months on the job, I resigned. My mother nearly go hysteric because she looks at me as a person who have landed a good job. My work is secure. Government doesn't fire. My pension is secure. That's how our parents view success. When I resigned, 6 months, I went into the hospitality industry. When I went there, I met people who were working for 5, 10, 15, 20 years at the same position that they entered. They're still at 15, 30 years doing the same thing. For me, I would already throw myself off of a 20-foot building. I would already throw myself off a 20-foot building to be in one position. No way. And so I learned from an early age that majority of us are wired for failures. We are wired to accept a 9 to 5, do it the same every day. We are wired to do the same thing every day and to be very happy with it. And so for abundance, somebody like me who came in behind, those who taught me, and I've said it all the time, those who taught me my job, supervised me and managed me, in less than 4 years, I was managing all of them, bar none. How could I overturn 25 years before me? How could I use 3, 4 years and overturn 25 years? Now, that is something, Tiashen, you need to ask yourself. And as the ambassador said, abundance will not direct you to go to where he has not been before. And I've always said, I am not a travel agency type leader that can describe places, send you to places that they have never experienced. Where I am taking you, the community, I have been there. I have been there. I am not guessing what you will experience. I have been there. And if I have not, I am leading the way. There are few of us that ever came into existence in the history of mankind. There are few of us that you can count on one finger. That should tell you something, Tiashen. I will not send you to places that I've never been. And when I looked at my own experiences as a young employee among hundreds, especially at Jolly Beach Hotel, we hire over 500 staff at one time. That me, Abundance, were able among all those staff to get Employee of the Year. It's not one department. Your Employee of the Year, you have to shine out housekeeping department. You have to shine out maintenance department, front desk, accounts, guest services, restaurants, food and beverage. You have to shine out all those employees to be named Employee of the Year. And not only that, I was also nominated Manager of the Year. You have to shine out all the managers and assistant managers of all the departments, of which at the time we were over 40. We were over 40 managers at that time. Abundance Manager of the Year. And so, Tiashans, you are blessed to have someone who have gone before, who have walked the path that he's now leading you. I told you at age 40, when I accomplished everything my heart desire, I told the infinite, my soul is satisfied. You can take me now. Honestly, I have reached the pinnacle of that which I set out to do. Always wanted a big house. Before age 40, I built a 9-bedroom and 8-bath house. When my doctoral friends and nurses from the Caribbean going through to go to Cuba, they stay at my place in the Dominican Republic. And they were all amazed. They were shocked when they come to my place. Even I heard them whispering, even the bathroom door is expensive. Even the bathroom door where nobody can see except they enter the bedroom. They were amazed at the doors that comprise the bathroom doors. So I'm saying to you, Tiashan, you are blessed. You are blessed to be tutored, to be led by an accomplished individual, and very humble indeed. Very humble indeed. Those of you who truly knows abundance and have entered my small circle, you can never remain the same. I don't care who you are. I don't care what level of education you have. Once you're around abundance, you can never remain the same. And so what I noticed in my life, very early, a majority of us are destined for failures. Destined for failures. In this community, I do not have full control. Had I had full control of this community, TAC would have already been 100,000 for one. But you don't understand the way I think. You cannot fit the shoes that I wear. And some of you don't want to learn either. You don't understand where we're going. You are being sidetracked by shiny objects and instant gratification because of how we are being studied. Can some of you even count on your fingers the amount of projects that you would have entered, and even though you would not have entered, that you would have known that started after TAC in 2019? Can you point to them anywhere? No, I'm asking you. But they were once your shining armor. They were once your go-to 100%, that even leaders in TAC were asking others to abandon TAC because TAC is not going anywhere. Yes, and they now come to you as innocent. They come into you as if you're stupid. You know, sometimes I play the fool. Many times in this community, I've always said the position that you hold is not that I don't know who you really are and what you're capable of. I've always said to you, don't be fooled by your position in this community. as a cloak for your evil attitude and way. No, don't be fooled for 1 minute. It is the wisdom of abundance that this community has not blown up in smoke already. It's not by chance why we're still here. It's by the wisdom and experience of abundance. That's why we're here. Abundance succeed where many failed. In this community, I have demonstrated over and over again, if you follow instructions, your life will never be the same. Ghana is a testimony up to today of what I was able to transform the minds of the people, the Tiashans that are in Ghana, that saw themselves as beggars, as people that you should pity. Look at Ghana in this community. Out of nothing became the head. Out of nothing, Ghana today is the head intact community. That should tell you something of our abundance leadership. But some of us will never learn. And so when I went on the job and I saw the majority of workers that they're destined to failure, they're destined to mediocrity, they're destined to a below average life. And who wants a below average life? As I've always said, no one goes to a store and asks for an average dress, a restaurant and asks for an average meal. No one wants to go and buy an average shoes or lived an average life. No one truly wants an average education. We want an above average lifestyle, above average income, above average environment. That is who we are as a people. But you cannot live below average and expect to gain above average income. You cannot. You cannot live below average. You cannot sink to the bottom and expect to rise to the top. Your conversation cannot be below average and expect to earn above average wealth. It doesn't work like that. You cannot live average and expect TAC to become above average. We are the ones that will rise TAC from below average to above average. You cannot be surrounding yourselves, engaging in below average activities and expect exemplary results, above average results. You are fooling yourself. And that is what I saw when I went into the workforces or force. I saw 99% of my colleagues, they were operating below average. That is why I was able to niche out a path for myself, because I determined from an early age, I will not be average. I will not be normal. Employee of the year didn't come because you're average. Manager of the year did not came because abundance was average. The The number one tire dealer in my country, Williams Tire World, once held that position while I was the owner and manager of that company. And I dare anybody in Antigua to say otherwise. Number one in my country. That's not below average. That's not a below average performance. I can even go further. In the Seventh Adventist Church in Old Road, and many are still there, even in my forum, they also saw my exemplary performance when I took over the youth department, when all hope seems to have been lost in the youth department. What I turned that department to become, even today, after 20-something years, I would have left that position. I go back to my village tomorrow. They will ask me, some will tell me, Abundance, your position is still here. Because no one is able to fill your shoes. No one did it in the past, and they don't see anyone to do it in the future. That is not someone who accepts or perform below average. And so, Tiashan, I say to the global community again, the amount of monies that you will ever earn in your life, your position, your recognition that you will ever earn in your life, don't fool yourself. Take it from someone who have been there. And Proctor said it very best. It's in direct ratio for that which you do. Your ability to do it well and the difficulty in replacing you. TAC continues to go uphill. No one will rescue us. TAC is 100,000. We have to make it 100,000. The irony with us, we are cloned. We are cloned to go back to our enemies. The way how we were taught, the institutions that have shaped how we think, they control our resources. They control your wealth. Because who controls your mind controls your wealth. Who controls your thinking controls your upward mobility. Water doesn't rise above its own level. You cannot rise above the system that trained you. You have to be awakened, conscious awakened. And then you will be able to see and to hear. But for the most part, a lot of us have ears. We are hearing, but we are not listening. A lot of us have eyes, and we are looking, but we are not seeing anything. And that is why even the infinite says to his disciples, do you too have ears and cannot hear, and eyes but you cannot see? We are so small. We are so small in our corner. We are so CEO of negativity, CEO of failures. And we easily attract like minds because birds of a feather do flock together. Being negative takes nothing. Nothing. And so today, I applaud and employed the Tiatians to become the best version of yourselves. Let no one fool you. If we want TAC to be 100,000 tomorrow, next week, before this year end, let no one fool you but yourselves. If you think it cannot, it will not. But if you think it can, like the Tower of Babel, whose community was in one mind and one mind only, but some of us are so toxic. Some of us have become so poisoned that even the coins in your hands becomes a burden and a fire. They are hot, very hot for your hands. You couldn't even give them away, even though you want, because you have come so negative. You have become so poisoned to yourself, because that is who you are. And that is how you have lived your life. You don't rise to the top. You always sink to the bottom. And those people, they are so plentiful amongst us that when your name is called, no one knows who you really are. May this audio motivate us to rise to new heights, to look within oneself and ask the self, am I my biggest enemy of progress? Am I my biggest fan? You decide. A community that came together in 2019, we are still here. Look around. Those shiny objects that came after TAC, that position to make us billionaires, they have only brought us sorrows and disgrace. And I can list a number of them. And you too can list a number of them. But here we are in TAC community. Some of you, TAC is a poison because you have eaten your words. You have eaten your words. And as I said to you, you are there. But it is the wisdom of abundance that kept you. It's the wisdom of abundance that have not exposed you. Because I am a sound leader. Departments, they send me to work, even at Jolly Beach Hotel, for me to fail. They gave me the worst staff to work with. You call them troublemakers, staff that doesn't show up to work, because the leadership didn't want me to succeed. I was too young. I was a threat to them. And so they did everything possible to make me fail, that I would never be confirmed as a manager. And when they send failures to me, I turn them into success. They could not believe the same people that work with them, that brought their percentage of guest satisfaction so low, when they send them to me, they make my department shine. I went to St. Lucia in 1996, I believe. When I went there, 96, 97, to work as a manager, when I went there, they laughed at me because they said that the problem I am coming to solve is older than me. A department that was hemorrhaging financially, hemorrhaging with guest scores. I said in Club St. Lucia, in the food and beverage department, they were hemorrhaging. I said they were hemorrhaging at all fronts. When I came in less than a month, I turned around that department. I turned around that department that they said that the problem was older than me. To the point where the general manager refused to release me back to Antigua and Barbuda. I had to let him know that my contractual arrangement is not with Club St. Lucia. With all due respect, I'm only seconded to solve a problem. And so it's not now. Abundance is a problem solver. Abundance do not associate with failures. And I do not associate with familiar paths either. If the pathway is familiar, you will not find me there. People like myself, we do not go down familiar paths. And that is why we are often being misled. The infinite did not go down a familiar path. Daniel, Shadrach, and Meshach, Esther, they did not go down a familiar path. John the Baptist, John the Revelator, they did not go down a familiar path. People like myself, we hate the familiar. We hate the mundane. We hate mediocrity. We hate the average. That is why, even when I'm looking at a woman, the woman has to be above average. I don't accept average and below average around me. Ambassador Otium, you understand that very well than most. I never look below average. I do not operate below average. And that is where I am taking you, the community. You have to begin to think above average. For you to get an above average result, you must think above average. You cannot think below average and expect above average lifestyle. It doesn't work like that. Nobody goes and said they want a below average education, dining, clothes, experience. No, all of us want above average experiences, but we cannot live and think below average and expect to earn an above average income. You are a scam and you're scamming yourself. This is Chief Abundance. I think is the longest audio I've ever done. on WhatsApp since I've started this journey in 2019. But it gives me pleasure. It gives me humility. It gives me all respect to be sitting at the seat of greatness, to be sitting at a community that really do not understand their potential. We are sitting on diamonds and gold. We are sitting on banks around the world and mega institutions, but we do not understand because we have never experienced where we are going. We have no recollection. We have no history. There's no blueprint for us in this community. And because we are a people that lived, think, and operate below average, that is our major challenge in this community. But we will get there. We will get there. And we are there. And so I say thanks to the leadership. Thanks to Ambassador Otiam and COS and the leadership intact and Dr. Joel Carr. I think you should go for your doctorate, Mr. Carr. Yes, you should go for your doctoral degree. What you put out there in the community a couple days ago, that video that you made was very exemplary. You really depicts the vision and the mission of TAC. You really depict and display and grasp fully the abundance vision lifestyle. And so thank you very much. This is Chief Abundance, your humble servant, saying the monies, the positions, the possessions, the heights that you will ever reach in this world, in this lifetime, will be in direct ratio for that which you do, your ability to do it well, and the difficulty in replacing you. This is Chief Abundance. Good morning.